Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Mackenzie. I am an occupational therapy student from HE Still University. I have been working in parental involvement in special education for about 10 years. I started at the University of Tennessee, where I did an individualized program where I created my own major, and I studied policy and programming in disability advocacy with a emphasis in parental involvement. And so I've done a lot of work over the years with parents and with organizations that serve parents. And for my doctoral capstone project, I am here at the Department of Education, working with Susie and her team to provide workshops for parents and teachers to hopefully improve parental involvement. So the workshop is free to Arizona. It is free to early childhood programs that serve children with disabilities. It is a 2-hour workshop for parents and teachers, and it'll be taking place between January 30th, which is next Monday, through March the 31st. It will be held at the participating schools, and I will be coming out to do the workshops there. So the objectives for this workshop are to improve parental involvement in early childhood special education, to improve the self-efficacy of both parents and teachers, particularly in terms of the parent-teacher interactions, to decrease the preconceived notions that parents and teachers have about each other, as well as about the process of working together, and then creating an action plan to improve parental involvement in each school specifically. So the research behind this project, I looked at the things that improve with improved parental involvement. And so for children, that's academic achievement, motivation in schools, social, emotional, and cognitive development. And it supports positive behavior in the classroom and at home. For parents, it improves their self-efficacy, their confidence, especially in helping their child navigate an educational environment, lowers their stress. It helps them better understand their child's condition, and it improves the perception that parents and teachers have of the parent-teacher relationship. For teachers, it also improves their perception of their jobs. It helps them manage children's needs in their classrooms more effectively, and it improves the teacher-student interactions in the classroom. For schools as a whole, it reduces unnecessary referrals for support services, and it makes those referrals more effective and the assessments more effective. And it improves the overall environment of schools by improving the parent, teacher, and child satisfaction with the schools. Strategies to improve parental involvement that have been implemented over the years are mostly programs, policies, and procedure changes, and those can be teacher-specific, parent-specific, or school level. But you also have things that are mostly teacher-specific, such as professional development, pre-service teacher education, and then establishing teacher-to-teacher support groups. Parent-specific strategies include trainings, workshops, webinars that are targeted toward improving knowledge and skills of parents, and then opportunities to volunteer in the classroom and creating parent-to-parent support. For school level strategies, you typically see school level professional development or those changes in policies, procedures, and practice guidelines. And then the parent-teacher strategies, which is what we are implementing, are trainings, workshops, and seminars, volunteer opportunities, changes in policies that target the dynamic of the parent-teacher relationship and improves the logistics of parent-teacher interactions and improves reciprocal communication. So the most effective approaches that I've seen throughout the research are those that target both parents and teachers together, that aim to improve parent to parent and teacher to teacher or multi-school interactions. Those that address preconceived notions, beliefs, and values of parents and teachers. Those that aim to improve self-efficacy, knowledge, and skills of parents and teachers. Those that support more effective and collaborative problem-solving skills between parents and teachers, and those that target administrative change and school-wide action in order to support parents within the school. So outcomes and findings of some of the programs that have been effective have found that parents and teachers actually have similar goals and want to work toward the same things. And the breakdown is typically in communication rather than what is wanted or needed. That parents want to be more involved in their child's education in a positive way. Teachers and parents both have a lot to offer each other, and it's not a one-way benefit. Parents and teachers develop strong relationships that center around healthy communication. Parents are willing to support schools when schools are experiencing staffing shortages. Parents are eager to help in the classroom and around the school whenever they feel that the doors are open to them initiating that. Schools are better able to mitigate and support community needs when they're having better communication with parents because they're more readily aware of those. Parents end up being great supports to teachers, especially within the classroom. And this is especially important in inclusive classrooms because parents can be the extra support that teachers need in navigating those changes. And parent-to-parent interactions become more commonplace, and that allows parents to support each other more effectively through the process. So schools and districts that may benefit from this workshop are those that are in need of more resources. They're experiencing staffing shortages. They have acquired new classrooms, schools, or teachers and administration. They're interested in creating more sustainable inclusion practices. They have a high population where one or more parent or close family member is at home throughout the day. They wish to improve the child outcomes of their school, and those with contentious relationships with parents and families. So the intervention that we're using for this, the first is the systems thinking model, which looks at a problem as a larger system. And this is used a lot in industries to address large problems that there have been a lot of failed interventions with, or that just continue to come back and seem bigger every time. They promote collaborative problem solving that creates a dynamic system of interactions and factors. And this model incorporates the opinions from across the whole group and illustrates the importance of each party's perspective. This model was chosen to highlight where parents really can play a role in creating solutions to improve parental involvement, and how their opinions can give us a perspective that we don't otherwise get. So this will be done by creating an individual system and then followed up by merging those into a bigger group. And so this is an example of one of those systems where you're looking at like a daily workflow and the things that impact that throughout the day negatively and positively. The next model that we will use to build off of that is the trans-theoretical model. And this model was created as a behavior change model in smoking cessation many years ago, and it is one of the most effective models for smoking cessation because it creates these distinct stages where you have specific things that you're looking at each time, such as supports and resources and behaviors that you're aiming to change. And then as you go through these stages, you create this upward spiral where it gets tighter each time and you get closer to the change that you want to see. So this helps create understanding and potential where we traditionally would see failure. because you can look at that and use it as a learning opportunity to create better solutions rather than give up and consider it a failure. It introduces the use of a variety of approaches to attack any one aspect of an issue, and it helps to create a plan for accountability, support, and utilization of resources. So this, again, we'll briefly look at the individual level of where resources and accountability or strategies could be implemented into creating the change that we want to see in this larger system, and then we will use it as a group to look at the bigger system. So an example of that, for me personally, a thing that impacts my daily life is if I don't eat regularly and I just get sucked into work. So I looked at that and specific strategies that can be used to create the change that I want to see, the resources that I could use, and then building in accountability. So that's just an example of what we would be looking at. So then the last step of this workshop is creating an action plan, where we're going to use this comprehensive system that we've created, and we're going to create specific goals out of that that will come back to each school or district in order to be used as kind of a framework of moving forward. So an example of that with the eating strategies that I put in, that I will take a 30-minute break each day between 11 and 2 to eat lunch, which will help to re-energize, refocus, and collect my thoughts. And I would want to implement this for 2 weeks. And so that's the kind of goals that we would be creating. So the strategies that I'll be using throughout these workshops are short presentation times, maximizing the time for activities and discussion to ensure that active learning is taking place during each step for all participants. It'll be a guided application of these concepts and indirect instruction and effective communication and collaboration skills. There will be detailed handouts of all of the processes that we work through for everyone to take back to use in the future, and then the action plan that will be brought back. So in order to participate, the district or school will have to schedule the workshop to take place between January 30th and March the 31st. And since this is my only project that I'm working on until April, the availability during that time is pretty open in terms of what I'm able to do in order to reach all of the schools that are interested in participating. We need 6 to 16 parents and teachers of children that are currently enrolled in early childhood, special education, or an inclusive classroom, with at least one of those being a parent and one of those being a teacher. The makeup of parent to teacher ratio is less important than we need parents and teachers to be there. And we have created a flyer to help recruit parents that we're going to be sending out when we get applicants. So we will also need the schools to provide a room that can accommodate the workshop with the ability to present and enough room to move around and work on this task as a group. We will have a satisfaction survey that will go out to all of the schools that participate that we will need sent back at the end, and then completion of the application that was attached to the email by March the 1st. So the things to know are that we are allowing regular early childhood education parents as long as they're in an inclusive classroom. Multiple schools are able to host a workshop together if that is helpful in recruiting parents. A translator can be provided, but we need the request to be with the application submission. We're asking that the recording that we're doing today be shared with teachers and other programs that might be interested. And then also to send out the webinar invites to the teachers in your districts that you think might be interested. I will be presenting on this at the summit, and it'll be this presentation with a little bit more detail, and we're going to be talking about some of the workshop outcomes that we have. And this will be first come, first serve. So we encourage you to apply soon, because after the summit, I imagine that we will have more people coming in. And then reach out if you have any questions. Are there? I don't know why it isn't. There you go. Does anyone have any questions right now that they would like to ask?